It's difficult just to boil it down to three. I think one of the things, it's not in the last 3 to 5 years, but I mentioned it before, I think the ability to record students and have them listen back to their learning is a really powerful tool. And it's something that a lot of language teachers don't think about. But the idea of someone being able to record, listen back to their own language, and if they're able to learn from that with the help of some kind of analysis, be it a teacher or other, or about the way that they're speaking, for example, I think that's a very powerful tool that will help students improve. If you get the chance to watch yourself, for example, on video presenting or teaching as a teacher educator, for example, that is amazing to see yourself in the classroom. It's not usually possible to do so. So the recording video, recording audio, and being able to use, if it's not just to do that, but to be able to use that to learn, for analysis, is really powerful. Video conferencing, I think, has really changed the game. We have a video conferencing project in Uruguay, the British Council that is, that we've been helping the Uruguayan government with, to be able to bring teachers in from Argentina and elsewhere to the country because there was a shortage of teachers. So this idea of being able to bring in expertise through video conferencing, and when we look at the results of those upper primary students, we see no difference between those who have face-to-face teachers and those who have virtual remote teachers when it comes to what they learn. That is a very powerful thing to be able to do, I think, because back then, this was 12 years ago, there was a kind of real doubt in people's mind about whether the experience was just a kind of, well, we can do this. It isn't as good as having a teacher in the classroom, but we can do it. But as far as the learning is concerned, it's just as good as having a teacher in the classroom, and we have evidence to prove that, which I think is interesting. Obviously, you do have that missing human being in the classroom, which when you ask the students what they would do to change it, that's the one thing they would prefer, because they like to have an actual person with them physically in the classroom. So there's that. And then, of course, AI, I think, the Gen AI is the big exciting thing, and that is really more than any other technology that's going to disrupt the way that people teach and learn. It's not only disrupting the way that people teach and learn at the moment, and not only teaching and learning, but it's also disrupting things like what we consider writing is changing. Writing is never going to be the same again. People aren't going to think of writing as perhaps what my generation thought of writing. It's gradually been added to with dictionaries and spell checkers and all sorts of other grammar tools, etc., over the years. But this is overturning what writing is. It's basically, writing is very much giving a short prompt and having AI produce a letter or a report, or even as it's happening now, a book for your film script that then gets turned into an actual film in the future. All of this is going to change the kind of skill set that people need for work and for education. And the sooner we embrace that, the better, I think. It's a case of a lot of people at the moment thinking, oh, I don't want that to happen. And when it comes to universities, for example, an assessment, a lot of people are still giving the same kinds of assessment. They're just asking the students to come into physical classrooms and start writing with pens again, which is divorced from what they're going to be asked to do when they leave university and go to the real world.
Tutor and Tech. Project about teaching languages, learning, technology, and how they co-evolve together.